So at the Château Fuissé, we vinify different climats, which are very different and very distinct from each other. And this is exactly what we want to show and to develop, is the singular expression of each terroir. So I have different ones that I vinify separately. I have, of course, three favorite ones. The first one is called Les Combettes. So Les Combettes, it's a specific area that we have in the village of Fuissé itself. It's located in between the east coast, which is planted in Chardonnay, and the north coast. So it's a cool area. So Combette means little valley. So we have a large scale of temperature in between night and day due to the forest and the exposure of the plot. So this cool area has also the characteristic of being a very poor soil. So it's 100% a limestone soil with a very small proportion of clay. So these wines always have a very nice definition of Chardonnay expression. Of course, it's a late terroir, so we pick the grapes at the end of the harvest to have the perfect maturity of fruit. But also, in order to develop all this finesse of the terroir, we vinify them in oak, but we never use any new oak to respect the characteristics of the terroir. And the idea is to enhance the minerality of the soil, the finesse, the feminine characteristics of this soil. On the opposite of Les Combettes, we would find Les Brûlés. So Les Brûlés, it's only located 300 meters far from Les Combettes, at the same altitude, but Les Brûlés, it's south exposed. So it's full south, so very sunny, on a very, very deep soil. It's a marl soil, and the marl are tremendous, amazing soils because they are difficult to manage, because they are either soil that have early maturity or late maturity. Considering the maturity of the grapes and the year when the vine has grown, you have to postpone the harvest in order to pick at the perfect maturity, or to pick early in order to not to be over matured, and to preserve, as always, the mineral characteristics from the marl, because marl is a mix in between clay and limestone. And since this terroir Les Brûlés, it's such powerful soil, we can afford to use a new oak fermentation, because the soil itself is over covering the oaky flavors, but respecting the wine for sure. The third terroir that we have and that we are isolating in terms of vinification is Le Clos. So Le Clos is in between Les Brûlés and Les Combettes, but it's only 30 meters far from Les Brûlés. But it's east exposed. It's middle coast, that's to say we have east coast around the Château. And Le Clos has a distinct soil as well, because, but it's maybe more a classical soil from the one we could find in Bourgogne, because at the bottom of the Le Clos you would find very deep clayey soils, and as far as we go up on the hill you would find clay and limestone soil in the middle, and at the top of the hill you would find more limestone soil. And all these three different soils combined together give the complexity to the wine. And of course, in this plot, we try to adapt the vinification according to where the vines are sourced from. That's to say, for the vines and the wine that are produced on the bottom, we use more oak. But as far as we go up on the hill, since we want to enhance the limestone and the finesse characteristics, we use 1 or 2 years old barrels in order not to overcome the finesse characteristics from the terroir.